Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you all had a lovely holiday season and Happy New Year to all of you. I'm just, doing a little sage, getting a little cleanse before we head into 2026 because 2026 is looking to be quite the year, yeah. So let me start by saying, if this is the first time you're seeing me, my name is Angela Peterson and I am a psychic medium and shamanic practitioner in Sedona, Arizona. I do readings and healing sessions both online and in person, and if you would like more information about that, the link to my website is below this video. We're going to start this forecast off by talking a little bit about the energy of the year 2026 before we get into January of 2026. For those of you who watched my December forecast, you will have seen that I mentioned that December 21st was a turning point for humanity. And on December 21st, we as a collective entered into a new frequency of profound change. So this turning point is going to be this whole year of 2026. When everything that has been building up collides. In this year, 2026, the universe is helping all of us to break cycles and patterns that we have been in for good. And this is a year of the fire horse, and fire is a very quick moving energy, and it's also about transformation. 2026 to me looks like a very busy year. It feels like one thing after another. So there's going to be a lot happening. It's going to be very quickly paced, and it could feel very ungrounding for a lot of us. 2026 to me has felt like the year that everything happens. I feel like the previous 5 years have been just a build up to 2026, and that's why 2026 is this turning point. A lot of the things that people have talked about potentially happening, like the markets crashing, banks shutting down, there have been a lot of stories, even predictions that a lot of these certain things would be happening. I do believe that if any of these things happen, they will happen in a more obvious way in 2026. I picked a card randomly from my animal spirit deck for the year 2026 as an overall representation. Now what's really interesting is we got deer spirit. And I recently watched a forecast by a spiritual teacher, and she was actually talking about deer spirit being the animal for the year. So when I picked that, I was like, oh, that's validation for sure. So I definitely need to share with you some of what she said about deer spirit. Deer bring us the medicine of gentleness. You can see on the card it says bring a gentle touch. So deer in general are struggling greatly right now due to the loss of their habitat. And because of that, this puts deer under great distress, which then weakens their nervous systems. And deer have a very unique nervous system. It's ultra sensitive, which is part of the medicine of the deer. Deer medicine teaches us how to be greatly attuned to ourselves and our environments. But right now, with all of the energy and the changes, everything that's happening in the world, that ultra sensitivity is weakening the nervous system in deer and also in people who have that similar frequency to deer, where they have an ultra sensitive nervous system. Deer medicine talks about avoiding conflicts and not getting into arguments with people. It's all about diplomacy. It's about softening things and bringing that gentle touch. So if your nervous system is feeling overtaxed, overwhelmed, anything like that, then you need to do things to mitigate that. And it is not the right time for you to confront major things like stepping through huge fear until your nervous system is acknowledged, worked with, and regulated to a certain degree. Then big moves like that may not be beneficial for you. For those of you who do meditation or like to journey to plants or nature spirits, then the deer would be a beautiful medicine to sit with this year and journey in with the deer and learn and understand what message the deer has for you. I'm also getting a very strong feeling that for the year 2026, we all need to be practicing the Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz. If you've never heard of the book, The Fifth Agreement by Don Miguel Ruiz, then you can look it up online, and I would suggest reading it this year if you've never read it before, or maybe even brushing up on it. But the Fifth Agreement is about being skeptical. It's to be skeptical, but learn to listen. Part of this is not believing yourself or anyone else, and it's using the power of doubt to question everything. One of the reasons that this is so important this year is because AI is advancing greatly. And so with that, it is critical that you do not believe everything or anything that you see online. You have to question everything this year, asking yourself even the things that are coming up in your own mind, your own beliefs, as well as the things that are being shared by other people, and especially online and the media. You have to ask yourself every time, is it the truth? And to always listen to the intent behind the message so that you understand it truly. And this is interesting because the deer spirit can actually help you with this. This is part of that ultra sensitivity that the deer provides us, is it can help you to attune to that depth of awareness. That being said, this year of 2026 can be both a hard year and a great year. There will be a lot of things happening this year that may at first appear to be bad, but keep in mind that all of this is necessary. There is a collapsing of structures and systems that is taking place, and it is necessary from a greater perspective, a bigger picture standpoint, which we actually did get the giraffe spirit. We got this for January, and the giraffe is all about seeing the bigger picture. But if this year you can keep your trust and keep your faith as best as possible while surrendering to the direction the universe wants to take you, then you will be provided for in the ways that you need to be. And like I said, this is about profound endings and profound beginnings. And the profound beginnings part, for many of you, you're going to be very happy about in certain areas of your life, because the universe is supporting us greatly in ending patterns and cycles that have been holding us back from attaining our true desires. Just keep in mind that as those cycles and patterns get cleared out, they do have to first come up and be in your face first and foremost, so that you can then work through and release. But the energy of doing that is going to be in some ways much easier this year. When I was tuning into the month of January, January normally can feel like a restful month because it's in the middle of winter, and so the natural inclination is to sort of hibernate and go into stillness. But this January does not feel still. It feels buzzy. When I tune into the energy of the month of January, I hear and feel this sort of hum, like a vibration, this underneath the surface. And I also sort of feel that in the earth to a degree is sort of this humming, there's this movement. And it feels like a revving up. It's like when you rev your engine before you actually put your car into drive and then go. Or you're standing at the racing line and you're getting ready, you're sort of jumping up and down, preparing yourself to take off and run. These are the images that I kept getting when I was tuning into the month of January. So I feel like there's this revving energy before the takeoff happens. And the takeoff for each of us could be different. I was getting around the 20th of January sort of starts that takeoff energy for some of us, and then maybe into February for others. This is part of that really fast-paced energy. So it just feels like one thing after another. But in the month of January, that humming or that vibration that you may be sensing or feeling could show up like nervousness or a feeling of anxiety in the body. Just know that it may not actually be anxiety, but that you're just sort of tapping into that universal collective hum. This hum sort of feels like this feeling of holding your breath, like you're waiting for the announcement of change and the signal to move forward. So just know that January could feel restless to you, but it's only because there's an amping up of energy that's getting ready for takeoff. And it's looking like the reason that we're having this period of time where we're just revving up, like we're amping up, is because there's still a period of time that reflection is needed. So even if it's not going to feel like a still, super calm reflection, there is a lot of self-reflection. It's like we are being shown ourselves right now very, very clearly, but whether or not you're seeing it clearly is going to be based on the amount of filters you have in the way of seeing yourself and others. There is more healing that is taking place in the month of January. We got 2 chakra cards. We got the heart chakra, and on this card we got forgiveness. The other chakra we got is the throat chakra. and we got truth. And we have a scale here, just like on the Justice card in the tarot deck. And this one has fire and water, so it's a balance of the elements. With these two cards coming out together, this is powerful because this is a self-reckoning. There's a feeling in this card of really coming into and settling into truth within oneself, having to reconcile and acknowledge certain things. And the scale very often represents the sign of Libra, which is all about relationships. And it's that balance, the give and take in relationship. And I know for me, relationships have been a huge part of my healing recently. And not always in a positive way. You know, sometimes it takes a negative experience to trigger the things within us that we need to look at and to see about ourselves and other people, so that then we can heal and move forward and like I said before, break a pattern or a cycle. But with these two cards coming out together, it really feels like acceptance. So it feels like if any of you have been struggling with any of this, when it comes to relationships or even your relationship with yourself and trying to heal cycles in that realm, January does feel like coming to a point of conclusion or acceptance with these things. And it's in that too that you have the opportunity to really go deep into self-love. And you know, self-love is something that I've learned comes from learning how to trust yourself. And when you're able to trust yourself, that means you're giving yourself the message that you have your own back. And when you're giving yourself that message, then you're the safest person you could be with at that point. When you are consistently reiterating the fact that you are looking out for yourself, that builds trust. And love is a byproduct of trust in any relationship, self or other. There's a lot of energetic and universal support this month when it comes to the building of the future. Not even just this month, but this entire year. This entire year is about building new foundation. And some of us have already been in the process of this, which is why we're actually going to see some of those changes implemented on a global scale this year. But choosing the future right now, choosing what you want your future to look like, and then us as a collective on a global scale choosing the future we want for all of us. All of this energy is being supported currently. So it's very important that we continue to stay very clear and conscious in the choices that we're making on a daily basis. Where are you putting your energy, even if it's small? Who are you supporting in businesses? Where are you putting your money? How are you treating yourself? How are you treating other people? Are you aware of your environment? Are you aware of the impact that you're making on the earth? And are you doing things to mitigate that impact? All of these things are so, so important. Moving back into the message of the giraffe spirit. The giraffe spirit this month is reminding us to make sure that we are aware of what's going on around our feet, right? Just as much as we are looking at the bigger picture of things. We need to make sure that we don't get our heads stuck in the clouds, that we're not disassociating or detaching in unhealthy ways, such as addictive behaviors. There may be addictive tendencies, patterns that you used to have that are sort of coming back around right now. So pay attention to that. It's important for us to not be checking out. It's very critical that we bring our heads out of the clouds and we take inventory of all of the things that need to be looked at and processed for us to go through the changes that are coming. And I know that this is so much easier said than done, but it is so important that we stay out of fear. Fear is such a lack vibration, and fear is being fed to us on a daily basis through the media and online and even from other people. It's pervasive, and we have to be so aware of that. Fear is the opposite vibration to love. Love is abundance. Love tells you you have everything you need, and it gives you trust, and it generates more from a manifestational standpoint. But fear will keep you trapped. And the way to work through fear is not by avoiding it. It's not by suppressing it or denying it. You must confront the fear. And, courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is a byproduct of facing fear. So it's very important right now that we continue to face the fears that are coming up inside of us. Because every time you face the fear and then you work through that fear, you'll come out the other side. You know, every emotion, including fear, is like a crying baby, but it's a cycle that has to move all the way through. And so when a baby is crying, what do? You pick the baby up, you comfort it, you soothe it, you bounce it, you meet its needs, whatever those needs are, and then the baby can relax and go back to sleep again. It's the same thing with fear. And I'm not suggesting that you coddle your fear and keep it going. That's very different. That would not actually be meeting the need of fear. You have to meet the need. And so it's about assuaging the fear. And if any of you are facing some things that you feel like are too difficult for you to face alone, then please know that you can reach out to me. And I do online sessions, healing sessions, where I walk people through many processes, just like the one I've described. And we do soul retrieval, we get your pieces back, we do trauma healing, whatever it is that is needed and necessary for you. All of these things can be worked through, they can be healed. And I know this from personal experience, and I know this by working with people for 15 years in this healing field. So it is 100% doable, and it does work. So reach out this month if you need anything. And I'm not just to me, but to anybody that you trust. Reach out if you need help. And I wish you a beautiful and powerful self-reflective month, and I'll see you next time. Take care.